We love featuring affordable bike products on this channel, but in today's video, we're not going to do that. Here is 16 cycling products that are ludicrously expensive, but so good. The VacMaster Cardio 54 fan. This is a £100, very powerful, 54k an hour fan for using on your turbo trainer. These guys originally made fans for use on building sites to dry walls if you painted them. And then they decided that you could get a remote control version of this for cycling. This is the most powerful it goes. It's still pretty quiet. It's way quieter than a normal like wind machine fan that you can buy. Look how strong that is. Unnecessary, but really good. Purpose-made sports nutrition. For example, Styrkr gels, who happen to be today's video sponsor. What you're paying for here is convenience, easy to open packets, and the dosing of the right stuff that you need during a performance bike ride. For example here, you can open a gel with one hand while you're doing a bike race or a fast ride with your tooth. There's 30 grams of carbs in one of these gels. If you're really into your riding and you've calculated how many grams of carbohydrate you need in an hour, stuff like this is easy to work out in terms of maths. So you got 30 grams in each gel. The bar that they make has exactly 50 grams of carbohydrates. Whereas if you were like Jimmy and you're eating a jam sandwich during a ride, you have no idea really how many carbohydrates you're getting. On the subject of Jimmy, he has a few tips of how you use one of these during a ride.
Back in my racing days, which was predominantly triathlon, I used to tape the gels on top of each other to my top tube. Gel goes on top, tape the rip bit, and then you can stack additional ones on top. It's all tucked behind your stem, so if you do care about aero, it's still relatively aero. And then when you need one, you're ready to go.
My favorite thing on this list. The RENERGY shoe dryer, $25.99 from Amazon. This seems completely unnecessary. It is completely unnecessary. However, if you've ever put on wet cycling shoes after going for a ride the day before, you know it's not a very nice thing. If you dry your cycling shoes on a radiator, chances are they're gonna melt. A lot of shoe brands say you shouldn't use an external source to dry your shoes. However, this piece of equipment doesn't get that hot, but it does provide a timed amount of air blowing through your shoe, and then it cuts off after like 60 minutes or however long you set it. I use this all the time. If you live in the UK, you end up getting wet shoes pretty much every ride, so it's one of my favorite pieces of equipment. I need a shoe. Oh, thanks. Why are you wearing cycling shoes? 71 minutes, drying. And then you can just leave and it'll turn off on its own.
I would never buy one of these if I hadn't seen you use one and how good they are. And I haven't bought one, but one day I know I will. And that upsets me.
The SILCA Impero frame pump. This is a bicycle pump that costs £176. Jimmy and I both bought these reduced online for about £120, and you can find them cheaper if you have a look. A top tube pump fits underneath your top tube like this, very neatly. On some frames, if you have like an aero frame, it won't be quite as neat, but essentially it means you can have a full length pump on your bike at all times and it doesn't get in the way of anything.
You've put it on upside down.
Now it's on the right way, even better. Yes, you can get much cheaper versions of these. TOPEAK make one for like £15–20, but this is a fully metal construction. Ours have been working flawlessly for ages. They look better. You'll be everybody's favorite rider on the group ride if you have one of these. Bear in mind they come in 4 different sizes, so you should measure your frame and check the details before you buy. This is a size small. This is a 51 centimeter size small frame, and it fits in perfectly.
So I've used a lot of the cheap TOPEAK ones, TOPEAK, whatever you want to call it, and I've used one of these. The main difference is if you live somewhere dry, I think the very cheap one will last for ages. We don't live somewhere that's very dry, so the TOPEAK version will end up leaking rust because it's plastic, water gets inside it, there's springs and things inside and just all rusty bits falls out of them. They go a bit rank. My SILCA one has not done that. I don't know why, maybe it's made from stainless steel or aluminum. Aluminum, yeah, for the audience. Ow! I wanted to make a noise like it was hitting you on the head, but I think I've just broken my hand instead.
The GRIPGRAB Flandrian Knit Overshoe is basically a sock that goes over your cycling shoe to keep your feet warm and dry. The benefit of these ones are that they look really good, water just beads off, and they're very, very thick, so they do really keep your feet warm, even when you're using a breathable pair of regular summer cycling shoes. I've been using these since they were released. I bought a pair. They've got little rubber bits here that stop you from wearing out the toe when you put your foot down. They are expensive, about £70 RRP. However, they are available online at the moment for about £50. The downside of using these is that water can still squeeze through the little holes in the bottom. If you wanted to go even more waterproof, you could look at something like Spats wear. They're the big long ones that go right up your calf, and they have a variety of different price points as well. These have been great for me. I've heard great things about Spats but never used them.
The NORTHWAVE Extreme RR GTX Winter Boots. They're fully waterproof, they are thermally lined, there is no holes in the sole that goes through to the shoe. They have gaiters on them, they're warm, they're dry, they're absolutely phenomenal. They cost a whopping £290, which is a hell of a lot of money for a product that you're only going to use for a part of the year. I have issues with my feet and my hands getting really cold. The only way I've been able to keep my feet warm when I'm out in winter is with buoys. I actually have two versions. I've got these ones, which have the gaiter built into them, and I've got another pair which doesn't have the gaiter, so it looks more like a traditional cycling shoe. They're officially rated to -15. I don't think I would be out riding in -15 if it was that. And they have a proper carbon sole like any high-end, good quality road cycling shoe. If you get cold feet, that's what you want. Did you get that? This is a $90 electric pump. It's called the CYCPLUS Tiny Pump Cube. I think that's probably the best thing about it, is the name, because it is a tiny pump cube. It pumps up two 25mm tires for a charge, and it can pump a tire to 80 psi. It makes a weird noise, it's fun, it's entertaining, it's furiously expensive. CYCPLUS Mini Pump.
The TOPEAK D Torque Wrench DX. This is a 180-pound torque wrench for making sure that you do up things on your bike to the right torque so they don't round off. This has a digital display. It makes a beeping noise when you hit the right torque, and it looks beautiful, especially when you open its lovely case and it has this carbon fiber looking frame thing. Absolutely unnecessary, but I want one. Nick lent us this one from the bike shop. Little does he know, he's not getting it back.
How much torque do you think your thumb has? 7.3 Newton meters.
3.2. Tubolito thermoplastic inner tubes. These replace your standard or butyl inner tubes, which come on most bikes, with a weird orange one. Thermoplastic inner tubes are generally extremely light, in that they claim on the box 39 grams. A butyl inner tube is probably about 100 grams. This means you shave some weight off your bike, but also the ride quality is a lot better. It feels like riding tubeless. In my experience, they punch up pretty much the same amount as a normal butyl tube, but if you want to shave some weight off your bike, this is a way to do it. These ones are about £25. You can get cheaper versions online. I think Vittoria make a version of this, which is thermoplast, and there's some even cheaper ones out there as well. These roll up extremely small, and they even do a spare version, which is a little bit more expensive, but even thinner. Those, I'm pretty sure they claim that they weigh 19 grams. So if you need a spare inner tube for a race, or you're going touring and you're limited in space, you can stuff loads of these into your kit.
Enduro XD15 bottom bracket. This is actually a recommendation from pro bike mechanic Nick Vieri. He talked to us for literally 60 minutes about how good these are.
They're great. Like, there's nothing like this.
So we're going to attempt to scale that down into about 10 seconds, which is not going to be easy. The biggest, most significant thing that I took away from Nick's ramblings for 60 minutes was they have an unconditional warranty. They will literally replace the bearings if you destroy them, however you destroy them. Like, that's bonkers. Like, that doesn't seem real. They cost a whopping £280, but with that unconditional warranty, that's it. You pay £280 once, and that's your bottom bracket for life. The steel that they've used is nitrogen infused, which they've taken from aerospace metal research development stuff. It ultimately means that it doesn't rust and corrode like all other bearings. So Nick sent me a video that he took whilst at a show, and it's a fish tank with loads of bearings in it, and the Enduro ones are literally not rusted at all, and they've all gone in the water at the same time. I think these are T47s, they'll fit my bike. This is Nick's, and now it is mine.
The Tailfin rack system. Now, these guys are a channel sponsor, but I've been using these for years, and for good reason. This is one of the best bike packing or touring products you can get. It's just insanely well made, but expensive. Essentially, this is a rack system which fits onto pretty much any bike using these two struts. This is the Aero Pack version, so it's a seat pack which doesn't sway around when it's attached. You can get versions with pannier mounts on the side, and then they have a series of bags which you can attach in different places on your bike if you want them to match. This is the cheapest version they do, which is alloy and doesn't have the mounts on the sides for panniers, and it costs £290. The carbon version with the ability to attach panniers to the side goes right up to £400, and then you have to pay extra for the bags which you attach as well. The benefits of using a system like this instead of a seat pack are that one, it doesn't sway around, so it doesn't really matter how you pack it either, and you don't have to reattach it every time you want to pack the bag, but also it's easy to access. So while it's attached to the bike, you can unroll the whole thing and just delve in and get access to all of your stuff. It's very convenient. It's an amazing system. It fits so many different bikes. So if you've got a race bike, you can fit this on. You can fit it on your gravel bike. You can fit it on a mountain bike. And they sell loads of different adapters. They actually do an adapter, which is a multi-use one where you thread it all together. So there's so many options. The guys who run the company are all engineers, and they've just done a fantastic job. It's expensive, but it's good. Fidlock magnetic bottle cage system. This is a bottle system that costs around £40 for the fitting and the bottle. It fits on your bike like this. The reason why these are so good is because they're so secure. Loads of mountain bikers use these because when your bike's rattling around, sometimes bottles can pop out of bottle cages and then they'll be lost forever. To remove one of these from your bike, you have to twist clockwise like that. That's a motion that just doesn't happen while you're riding. So your bottles are always gonna stay on if you're riding over bumpy stuff. I've been personally sponsored by Fidlock for 4 years now, and my bottles from the original deal that I had are still going strong. They last ages. They're extremely well made. The newer ones are easier to squeeze than they ever have been. You can buy loads of different accessories that fit on, separate ones of these if you wanna have them on multiple bikes. They're expensive, but they are extremely good. SRAM Red. This is an electric and wireless group set, so gears, brakes, system for your bike. It's insanely light. It's the top of the range that they do. It's about £2,800 depending on what spec you go for. It has an app where you can program the shifting. So you got little buttons on the side of the shifters, and you can change what they do. You can link a dropper seat post to it. It's all an ecosystem, as they would put it. But the functionality is exactly the same as you go down the range. So really, all you're paying for with the Red is for it to say Red on it, and it's a bit lighter. If that's what you want, and you want all of your friends at the cafe to know that you've had a promotion at work, SRAM Red.
My £4,000 electric cargo bike. It's an OMNIUM Mini Max that's got a big cargo thing on the front. It's got massive tyre clearance. I can put mountain bike tyres on it if I want. Mud guards. It's got a mad motor. It's super fast. It allows me to go anywhere on a bike. I could go bike packing with this if I wanted to. It's phenomenal. It's obviously an obscene amount of money. It's the price of a car, literally. Not a very good car, but it's the price of a car. But it can effectively replace a car in many situations. You can get cheaper e-bikes. The reason this one is £4,000, it was put together by a company called Paradise Cycles in London. It's a bike that isn't meant to have an electric motor. They 3D printed a custom battery compartment for it, which sits under the cargo tray bit. This one has purple blue flip plate, 18 karat gold decals. The insanely expensive but really good ARCLIGHT pedals from REDSHIFT,
We got these from REDSHIFT for a review last month, and they've been stuck on Jimmy's bike ever since. Basically, they are flat pedals with 2 LED, what is that called?
Sausage.
2 LED sausages in each of the pedals. These are ridiculously bright, even in the daylight, and as you pedal, it knows which one is on the back and which one's on the front, so it goes red and white depending on, I don't understand how it works. This version is £170. Isn't it annoying because there's 2 pedals, 2 lights on each pedal, so you have 4 things to charge every time you want to charge them.
Well, Francis, check this out. Here's one charger I made earlier. Comes with this thing, and then they all just go straight in. You can also use it for a handy bit of visibility when you're out walking. It's just so well engineered, isn't it? It just works. It all just fits so perfect. The THULE, whatever you want to call it, bike rack. I've had one on my car for a good number of years. We use bike racks multiple times a week. It's phenomenal. It's not essential, but it just works so well. So fortunately, my car already has bars on it that a rack can be attached to. The cross T-bars are about £120, and then each THULE, whatever you want to call it, bike rack that fits one bike each is £140. So this entire rack is £400 for this bike rack. But the benefit for me is my car doesn't get stinking inside. It's much quicker to get the bikes on and off, and like I said, we do it all the time. You know, we're constantly out making videos, and therefore we're just slinging bikes on and off all the time. Keeps my car a little bit nicer. I love it. Chris Hall doesn't. The rack lives on my car all year round, in all conditions, all seasons. I don't wash it, and it doesn't look new, but it functions perfectly. There's nothing wrong with it. It's got locks on it, so you can lock the rack onto the roof and then rock a bike to the rack. So arguably it's quite secure. Well, you might come back and just have wheels locked to your bike.
Wheels locked to your bike?
Oh, for Francis, it's 7 in the morning.
Those are 16 really expensive but really good things. Let us know in the comment section down below what your expensive but brilliant cycling products would be. Thank you for watching, and subscribe to this channel for more.